Greg Regan is president of the AFL-CIO Transportation Trades Department, a coalition of 37 member unions. So is it like when you see one car, you see a whole bunch of cars that look like yours? Or is that why we're seeing more train accidents happening? Is that people's fears are up? People are more nervous. Maintenance workers are nervous. There's a lack of maintenance workers. What's the problem?
Well, it's not that train accidents are up in the last month. They've been up over the last 10 years, and we've seen the rate of accidents increase over that period. And frankly, it coincides directly with the reduction of the workforce levels that we've seen in the industry. 30% of the workforce was laid off since 2015. And when you have, the scope of the U.S. railroad system, and you reduce it by 30%, the workforce, something's going to give there. And we've been saying for years that there are going to be safety consequences for this type of cost-cutting measures that are driven by, quarterly returns.
So are you saying that railroad workers have been sounding an alarm, just like nurses have said? They've been sounding an alarm for years, that they're overworked, that they're underappreciated, that they're working far too many hours. Is that the case with railroad workers today, that they've been trying to tell us all along, we're just finding out now?
Yes, 100%. I mean, look, I think you heard that a lot during last year when there was the threat of a railroad strike. It wasn't wages and benefits. It was quality of life issues that were the number one issue that was holding up a contract. It was things like draconian attendance policies. It was lack of sick leave, work-life balance issues. All of those issues were the ones that were holding up a deal and the reasons why many workers rejected that contract, despite the fact that it had the largest wage increase in 45 years. But if you look at, I've been lucky enough to testify in front of Congress several times in the past 5 years. And if you go on any one of my testimonies from during that time, they will tell you that we raised safety concerns about the extreme cutting from the railroads.
In terms of the tracks, because I want to get back to more on the workers, but in terms of the tracks, have there been changes to the schedule? Have there been changes to the tracks themselves while the trains remain old? And is that causing more derailments?
The tracks, there haven't been changes to the schedules necessarily. I mean, they're running fewer trains, unfortunately. I think they need then fewer and longer trains. That's part of the problem. The fact that we have trains that are going upwards of 3-4 miles long, that is a major concern from the people that I know that run these trains. And I think when you look at the tracks, what we're seeing is a lot of efforts by the industry to try to eliminate existing safety requirements. So get waivers from existing requirements to do in-person track inspections, in-person brake inspections, things like that, because they have some new technology that they think can replace what a human being can do. And our contention is that that technology is complementary. It needs to enhance the ability of these trained experts to be able to do their jobs.
We saw a letter from union workers just yesterday talking about all of this. And the fact is that they are being offered more time off with Norfolk Southern so that these machines can go in and do the inspections. But is it that machines can never really do the kinds of inspections that maintenance workers can?
They can enhance. So what they're talking about, the automatic track inspection technology they have really is a geometrical inspector. It can tell you when a railroad is offline, when the tie is out and the rail itself is gone. What it can't do is tell you when there is, some sort of corrosion in the actual system, when it may fail in the future. So I think there is value in having technology if we can incorporate it in the right way. And again, it should be a complement. It should be an enhancement to what the workers can do. Oftentimes, technology tells you when something has failed. Workers will tell you when it may fail or when it's at risk of failing.
I have to get this statement out from Norfolk Southern just so that we make sure that this interview is double-sided here. A TIP technology can detect track defects with significantly higher accuracy than a human inspector, according to Norfolk Southern. And because ATIP, or ATIP, I don't know if that's correct, is mounted on locomotives, it conducts an inspection every time a locomotive traverses a track, a much greater frequency than what is possible with a human performing manual inspection. Before we let you go, because I've already heard what you think about all of that, about it enhancing the work that humans do, there has been a lot of contention around precision scheduled railroading. What is that?
It's really a business model that is designed to reduce costs as much as possible to maximize profits. So practically what it means is that's the driving force behind the workforce reductions that we've seen over the last 8 to 10 years. It's the driving force behind why we have longer trains and fewer trains, why we have fewer rail yards operating and mothballing of equipment. It is not precise. It is not scheduled. And I will tell you, a lot of railroaders I know will say it's not railroading. It is really about how do we maximize our Wall Street returns. And
I think there are a lot. I actually have friends who work for railroads, railroad companies, and they have chimed in on the same things that you are. Really quickly, in one sentence or less, why should Americans care about this? Why should we put this front and center for a lot of the topics that people are juggling with right now in their homes? But coast to coast, why is this such a big deal?
Railroads are the backbone, and railroad workers are the backbone of the U.S. economy, and they run through virtually every community in this country. If we're not doing it effectively and safely, we're failing both our country and the workers themselves.
We need to take care of people, is what the unions would say. Greg Regan, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.